Good morning, Janice.
Good morning, Anthony.
This is going to be a very New York centric one,
Yeah.
as are many of our episodes, but how to sell a New York City loft in probate. So we'll discuss how to sell a loft in probate, and this is yet another type of apartment that's pretty unique to New York. All right, so we've talked about co-ops in the past, which is kind of mind-boggling to most people, but all right.
Yes.
Even New Yorkers are like,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, even Yorkers, yes.
Yeah. All right, so first we need to talk about the artist in residence requirement. Okay, what is that? What is an artist in residence? It's too much for us to cover in depth here. So I'm going to throw a link into a great article from Street Easy, which is a local real estate blog. But basically, if I can sum it up, to live in a loft that's been converted from commercial use to, being zoned to be allowed to live in there, they're usually, or they're often sort of technically work living spaces. You're supposed to be an artist who lives in your studio. Let's put it that way, right? Almost nobody is actually an artist, right? But if you just Google that, there's all these celebrities with these glammed, huge lofts, and they're not. I guess if they're actresses, they're artists. But anyway,
They are? Yeah.
but there's a whole program. So the way this impacts you in probate is not only do you have to sort of sort through some paperwork to confirm that your decedent was an artist in residence, it sort of limits your pool of buyers.
Right.
And there's an actual like certification process where you get, I don't know, I guess certified or permitted by the city of New York as an actual artist. I couldn't believe it when I read about this or when we've learned about this with our cases. But it's just like with any bureaucratic mumbo jumbo. There are apparently several workarounds, and there must be, because I've never seen an actual working artist living in these multi-million-dollar lofts. It just doesn't make sense. So it's just basically one of those weird bureaucracies you need to navigate.
I mean, it is an art so subjective. I mean, I've done, finger painting in my time.
I think there's an income requirement, like you derive a certain, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't seem to really be enforced or whatever.
Right.
But there's a lot of red tape or paperwork that you have to. Yeah. Yes, so make sure you work with brokers who have not just read about it in the post, but they know like how this system works, which is really important because you want to make sure. Otherwise, you're really going to limit the number of buyers, and you want to have as many good buyers as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to waste a lot of time if they aren't sure how to deal with this. Yeah.
All right. So more in our wheelhouse, or my wheelhouse as the executor who kind of handles everything, is the clean out issue, because you have a bit of an elevator problem. So just so you can give visualization, most of these lofts were formerly like warehouses that are now converted into living spaces. They're really cool architecturally and whatnot, but you don't have a lobby, you don't have a traditional lobby, and you don't have a traditional elevator. You have an elevator that goes directly into the living space. So, Janice, everyone I'm hoping is familiar with apartments. You walk in the lobby, you press the elevator, you get off the elevator like a hotel, and there's hallways that lead to the individual doors that have locks to those units. No, that's not how it is here. Once you get off the elevator, you're in your house.
You're in your house, right?
In case anyone's wondering, there's a key to each floor so that people can't randomly go to your floor. Anyway, in case anyone's curious.
Floor 3, you can't get off at 2, and hi, what's for dinner?
I mean, it's pretty cool. It's unique, but it leads to some logistical issues from the executor's perspective. I mean, it's tough. If there's one elevator, and it's usually one elevator, that leads to all these floors, if we're doing a clean out, which we do, we clean out apartments to get them ready to sell, we are basically denying everyone else in the building use of the elevator.
Right.
And this is not unique to probate. If anyone's moving in or out, it's the same thing. But it's just it's one more twist for a hurdle or for an executor to deal with when dealing with 100 other issues. Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
And we actually experienced a very odd situation where we didn't have the key to the door that led from the elevator to the loft. It was very unique watching the locksmith hold the elevator door open with one hand, and then we would get a buzz that somebody was trying to use the elevator, and he has to undo everything so that we can let the other resident in. And we're sitting, he's like sweating, hardworking guy. His drill is ready. He's like, okay, once we get back, you can start drilling again. So It's kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
you'll get through it. I'm just making sure you're aware that there's going to be issues you have to navigate. Yeah.
Yes.
On the pro side, in many cases, these elevators are huge because they used to be warehouses. They're not your traditional residential elevator. And when they're these huge things, you could just put pallets and pallets worth of stuff in there. So you might only need to use it like two or three runs before giving the elevator back to the rest of the building.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, the uniqueness of the layout for these New York City loft apartments. Janice, are you understanding what these look like? There are no rooms.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's just a huge open space. There are no rooms. I mean, you can reconfigure it. You can get an architect and a contractor to throw up some walls, but in its raw form, it is just a huge open warehouse floor.
Room. Yeah. Yeah.
So again, this is not specific to probate, but to anyone selling a loft. But you have a very narrow set of buyers who are interested in living like that, right? I mean, again, it's pretty cool, but it's also like, oh, I would love to have a room,
Right, like a bedroom and a
kitchen,
Right.
So it is unique. Just be aware that you should executors. You have so many other things you're worried about. Make sure you're working with a broker who's very familiar with how to get these things sold. They are worth quite a bit usually. You just need to know how to deal with them. Yeah.
How to deal with them, and like you said, the neighbors, right? Because one of the things you run into, even with clean out, which is one part of it, is sometimes you can or cannot reserve the elevator depending on the rules, right? There's also rules to using elevators. So, there's lots.
Real quick double whammy. Many of these loft apartments are also co-ops, so you get sort of both sets of problems. But anyway.
Yeah. So you've got all kinds of forms to fill out just to use the elevator that you can't really reserve to get the stuff in and out. So, yeah, on top of probate, that's already kind of tricky.
Yep.
Right. As always, I recommend Anthony's book, How Probate Works, available on Amazon, so you can see what you're getting into.
That's a very polite way of putting it.
I don't even know how else to say that now. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, check out the book. It'll cover a lot of situations so that you'll know what you're dealing with on top of these twists.
Yes.
Otherwise, thanks for listening. Thanks, Janice, as always, and we will talk soon next time.
Talk soon.
Bye now.